What's up, everybody? So I'm going to be starting this series on music theory. It's going to be kind of redundant for a lot of people to begin with, but it's going to start out very basic, very simple. It's not going to be probably all that exciting to begin with, but we're going to start, with a foundation and then build from there, and add some more topics on top of it and get a little bit more complex, and really just blend it all together. And hopefully from start to finish, if you follow along with it, you'll be a more versed musician, have a better understanding of music as a whole, have a better understanding of how to approach your instrument, just a variety of different gains from it. So we'll just see how it develops and go from there. I mean, I just want to have fun with it and experiment and get some feedback from you guys and see what you like and what you understand, what you don't understand, and yeah, just give it a shot. So. Alright, so sound. What is sound? That's what music is. It's made up of sounds. It has sound to it, a variety of different sounds from different instruments, drums, guitars, piano, vocals, even just talking now, I'm making sound. It's not very musical sound, probably not very appealing, but it is sound, and from these sounds we can take and organize them in a certain way and give them certain pitches and kind of get them to work together in a specific way to form what we call music. And so what is sound to begin with? Well, sound is vibrations. It's vibrations that flow through a particular medium. Most of the time it's usually air, but you can hear sound underwater, of course, even through physical objects, wood, metal, plastics, depending on what it is, and depending on how much energy is put into it, it's going to create a sound, or a vibration. Now, while sounds are vibrations, we can't hear all vibrations, and so not all vibrations are sounds, but what we can hear are vibrations from about 20 vibrations per second to 20,000 vibrations per second. And that's just how fast, certain sounds will vibrate to produce, that particular sound. So sound is measured in hertz. That's a Hz or Hertz. That measurement is in cycles per second. From 20 to 20K is agreed upon what humans, most people can hear. This varies with age. Children that are much younger can hear within that range a lot better than somebody like me, for instance. Down to 20, that's really more vibrations that you feel rather than hear. And then coming up from there, like the human voice starts around 80 hertz or so. Can go a little deeper, a little higher, depending on who you are. It really depends on the individual. And then me personally, I can only hear up to probably about 15 or 16K, and that also depends on just how loud it is. So that measurement, like I said, is in cycles per second. That's how many times, if something is vibrating 100 times per second, that's 100 hertz. That's that frequency of vibration. So this is just a regular 6-string guitar. If I pick the low E string here, that string is vibrating at roughly 82 hertz, or 82 cycles per second. So we can hear that sound. The guitar doesn't go much lower than that. Bass will go down to about 40, regular just 4-string standard tuned bass. But if you get much lower, it gets to the point where you can't hear it anymore. You really just feel it more. And now that 82 hertz is the fundamental frequency of that string vibrating. But that's not all that you're hearing, because it doesn't vibrate the same the whole length of the guitar. It's not the same vibration at the bridge, at the nut, up here at the top, or even in the middle. And the guitar is vibrating as well. I don't actually hear the vibrations of the guitar per se, but that is included in the sound. That's part of what makes the sound up. And as well as this being an electric guitar, the pickups, how they pick up that sound, and then how it goes through your equipment. Ultimately, if you're going into effects or an amp or whatever, the sound that you're hearing coming out is not 100% just that 82 hertz. There's harmonics of that. There's other stuff that's included in that sound, and that's what makes up the timbre or the tone of the guitar. And this guitar in particular, it's not going to be the same from instrument to instrument. While most guitars have a similar or common timbre, it's not going to be like that of a piano, and a piano is not going to be like that of a harp or any other instrument. Those extra harmonics or those extra frequencies are what give the instrument that you're playing its particular tone. But on a fundamental level of vibration of sound, that is 82 hertz essentially, and we have given that the name E. That is a low E on a guitar. So from there, if we apply all these other names to these other frequencies, then we can start to put together something that resembles music. You may have heard of middle C or A440. Middle C is going to be this first fret here, B string. That's middle C on guitar. And typically you hear middle C associated with piano more than guitar. Now, A440 is a tuning reference, and that A is right here, I believe. 5th fret, high E string. And so that's the A above the C that we just played. So that A is ringing at 440 times a second, and then middle C I think is roughly 261. So those frequencies, those are good for reference if say you want to work with an EQ pedal or work with EQ in your in software that you're working on, any DAW that you might have, Logic, Pro Tools, anything that you're trying to shape the sound of or the tonality of. If you're working with guitar or any instrument for that matter, even the voice, those are good reference points to know. And there's one of those pretty much for every note, so if you just kind of know what range you're playing in, then you can really pick out what frequencies are going to be useful on the instrument that you're working with. So just take a look into that and kind of play around with it and study with it. But those are the beginning parts of what music is made of. Because if you notice, each one of those frequencies we attributed a note name, a value to. So those values we take and we put together, and that's what gives us the building blocks of music essentially. So here we are at the piano. This is an 88 key piano. Earlier we had talked about middle C. So this note right here is a C. This is our first C in a set of 7 octaves that we can work with. If we move on up, this is our next C. And if we move up again, this is our 3rd C right here. And if we move up again, this is our 4th C, and that's middle C. So an octave is basically from here, this C, to the next C. And there's 12 notes in between. But octave, you're saying, is, well, that's 8. But if we separate these notes out between white keys and black keys, which conveniently on the piano gives us the C major scale, we have 8 notes in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to the next C. So talking about frequencies and whatnot are a little bit more scientific, and we'll get into that more later, probably in some different videos or different kinds of videos, more gear videos or equipment, recording, who knows. And what I want to do though is focus primarily on sound and where it comes from, and then how we give these individual frequencies or these sounds names, and then identifying them, and then taking those and forming what we call music. Back on the E string here, low E. If I start there and I work my way up chromatically on this string to the next E, which is on the 12th fret here, same string, that would be 12 notes. So it's E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. Now, if I remove all the sharps, that's 5 sharps, that leaves me with 7 notes that are just natural. They're not sharp or flat. And so that would be low E, of course, again, F, G, A, B, C, D, and our octave E. So I'm mainly a guitar player. I kind of fiddle around with piano. I study a little bit on other instruments for composition sake, but mostly, physically, all I play is guitar. That's the only thing that I have any kind of skill in, instrument-wise. But if you play piano, or if you get a piano, or if you just look at piano more often while doing these lessons or studying music theory, you may find that you can understand things a lot better with it, just because of the way that it's laid out. It's literally black and white, but it's linear in its order of notes, just like I showed you on the guitar here, just on one string. The guitar, however, because of how it's tuned, and we got all these other strings below it, it can be kind of weird, until you learn some certain shapes and learn how certain scales and whatnot fit together. But the piano, the shapes pretty well stay the same, and it just moves in a linear fashion. And so it's a great instrument to learn, theory on, and to learn music on. I suggest you start on any instrument that you desire, but piano is probably going to be the easiest. And even when you're working with guitar here, I still rely on piano quite often. So I'm going to give you some examples with piano here and there, just to kind of help out. These 12 notes that we've discussed are pretty much the building blocks of the majority of all music you hear on the radio in various genres, different styles, and different tastes. They're all pretty well comprised of these 12 notes over multiple octaves. So the idea here is really to figure out, if you played all these notes, just in any random order or any, combination, you might come up with some pretty cool stuff. But it's going to be very hard to understand exactly, what you're doing or what you're coming up with. It's going to be hard to understand, precisely, how you get certain sounds or the way something sounds. And so that's what we're doing here. That's what we're trying to figure out. That's what I hope these videos will help guide you along with, is understanding how we can take these 12 notes and organize them in a way that is understandable, that you can then take that and come up with your own music, and take the things that you hear in your head and put them down on paper or play them out on your instrument. Or if you hear somebody else's music, maybe your favorite band or your favorite musician, you can have a better connection with what they've done and what they're doing. If you see them live, or if you you listen to their music on the radio, or you stream it, wherever it's at, you can understand it with a deeper sense, with a deeper thought of what's going on. So, yeah, we're going to take these 12 notes and break it down into the C major scale, which I've shown you. That's no sharps, no flats, and we're going to run with that. And we're going to start there and see what those combinations of notes do. See what you can do with them, and how you can mold them to basically make the sounds, the basic sounds of what music is. It's going to be a primary starting point that we're going to build on and expand from. Alright, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. In the next video, we're going to take the major scale. I'm going to show you how to build a scale, the major scale, to start with, and show you what chords are available in it, so you can start to understand how to develop melodies and harmonies, and just understand how it works. So please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications for more videos to come. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, just a variety of social media platforms, and I'll catch you guys later.